All right, good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the December meeting of the LCTCS Board of Supervisors Audit Committee. Thank you for joining us today. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you that the Audit Committee meeting is being live streamed. With that, I'll turn to Chair Salat.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to the December 11th LCTCS Board of Supervisors Audit Committee meeting to order. Today, I'd like to appoint Supervisor Mount and Supervisor Hardy to our committee. No vote required. And so now I'd like to ask the group to have a pledge to the flag, and I would ask Els if you would lead us.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Well, sir, we'd be happy to. Chair Salat?
Here.
Is present. Supervisor Burke?
Here.
Is present. Chair Hardy?
Present.
Is present. Supervisor Mount?
Present.
Is present. And Chair Salat, we do have a quorum established.
Thank you very much. Okay. We've had 3 requests for public comments relating to one of the agenda items on today's meeting. This is required. This reminder is that public comments must be related to a specific agenda item. Art, would you?
We have not had any public requests at this time.
Thank you. All right, now on the approval of the August 14th meeting. Request the motion to approve the meetings. Everybody has been presented with that. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion from Senator Hardy. I got a second from Mount. Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Can we clarify the motion? It's to approve the meeting minutes
The minutes of
from
August 14th, 2024.
All right, I'll get a first on that. Okay, Chair Hardy, and the second was Supervisor Mount. Thank you. And then we'll do the agenda.
Okay.
Approve the agenda.
Okay, we need to approve the project updates. We can ask Mr. Jess Fleming to review the projects that are completed, if you would, please.
Thank you, Supervisor. Good to see everybody. We'll jump right into it. First, I'm going to talk about the projects that we've completed. LCTCS internal audit has completed since we last met in August. We have 3 reports that we issued. The first one was a purchase card, travel card review at Northwest Louisiana Technical Community College. There were no findings. One thing I want to point out about that one, last year they had a review from the Office of State Travel looking at the similar issues, and they had a few findings. So our review started from when that report was issued to present. And what's noteworthy about that is they've corrected the issues they were having. So it's always good to see that you don't see this persistent issue continuing. Next is a restricted fees review at South Louisiana Community College. Restricted fees are, when you sign up for your classes, you get hit with all these fees. The students complain about them, but they're necessary for the operations of the college. But certain fees are restricted by legislation. It's very specific things which you can and cannot do with these fees. We looked at 3 of those: academic excellence, building use fee, and the tech fee. The academic excellence and building use fee at South Louisiana Community College, we found no issues. The tech fee, there was one minor issue. The legislation requires you, when you put together your tech fee plan, to allow for the students to offer input to that plan. We weren't able to establish that the college was doing that. Even before we issued our report, the college has put in a plan and what I thought was very thorough to address this issue. So going forward, it's already done and dusted. The chancellor's here. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I'll just add that we didn't have a plan initially. Obviously, the tech fee piece, I didn't even know that it was driven by legislation, to be honest with you, but we have a plan in place now. And I think that the plan that we have is relevant moving forward to allow us to have student input, but even more so, more timely communication between that process and IT department in terms of really assessing, what the requests are, and then validating that with the necessary demands that are relevant in the IT area. I think it creates more of a robust system moving forward.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So like I said, the college was very proactive. We worked with them through this. So even before our report was issued, we had put that finding behind us. The next report we did was a disaster recovery view at Fletcher. This one, I didn't approach this as here we're going to go in and here are the findings. This is what they've done wrong, and this is how they're going to fix them. This was a collaborative effort. I believe Fletcher is a leader in this area for the system. So it was good to start there. They already have a robust plan. It was very well thought out. They had to provide us with a lot of documentation. I can't say enough about how well they worked with us during this. But every auditor's got to get their say in. So we did find a few things that we feel like they can improve upon. And again, it's more of like the maturity of their plan. This isn't what you did wrong. It's just we're coming in on the evolution process. Here's some guidance we think you could benefit from. And those things were business impact analysis. This is like I have it listed here, so I didn't want to miss anything. Prioritization of job functions, recovery time objectives, recovery strategies, identification of backup windows, identification of backup location requirements, those type of things. And it wasn't that they didn't have all these things. They did have some of this stuff already established. It's just approaching it from that viewpoint of this is our business impact analysis and this is how it dictates our disaster recovery. I think that was where the guidance that we relied on benefited the college. And again, like I mentioned with SLCC, Fletcher had already, we had open lines of communication throughout this whole process. They had already gotten this stuff done before we even issued our report. If you go look at the report, in the full report, you'll see I have included what they've done since we gave them these improvement points. And then there was only one other thing was we recommended, not that they weren't doing this, but document the testing of your plan. It can even just be a tabletop exercise once a year. Just make sure those type of things kind of highlight, okay, maybe we're not sufficient here. I believe testing and plan and documenting that testing is important for its success. Chancellor, do you want to add anything?
Sure. Well, first, thank you for your feedback. We are always looking to improve, and it was a very collaborative approach. I just want to say that we've tried very hard at Fletcher to take all of the lessons that we learned after Hurricane Ida and to be able to put things in place so that before the next storm or crisis or weather event that occurs, that we are more prepared. And I believe that we are much more prepared than we were before, and just really very honored that Fletcher has been able to do this work and kind of lead in this sector. So I appreciate that. Immediately after getting some of the feedback, my team convened a working committee. And that's why you hear that we have some of these things already addressed, but we're going to continue to work on this because we believe that this is important not only to just Fletcher, but to all of our institutions. And quite frankly, we learned this week, we did a presentation at SAC-COC conference on this specific issue, myself and Chancellor Carlson, and believe that it's important nationally for folks. So thank you.
If I may, Jeff, one of the things that came about in this discussion is the need for contracts, pre-event contracts, such that if we need generators, AC units and the like, that we have those contracts in place that we can call upon them. Look, in the midst of a storm, we all know that that's reimbursable. So we're not talking about a new expense for the college. Really, the question gets back to the business analysis of what is the implication of a 10-day period without electricity on a campus in terms of the impact of the facilities, but also in terms of the impact to the revenue base. So it's really helpful to be able to walk through these so that we can make sure that all of our colleges are prepared. So Jeff, thank you for the work.
I appreciate it. Are there any questions about any of those projects I discussed? And feel free to reach out at me anytime. I know I try to send out the summary right before the board meetings. So if there's ever anything that jumps out, feel free to reach out because they are as a summarization. So sometimes I worry if it doesn't always come through. Next, I want to talk about the projects that we currently have in progress that we will present at the audit committee meeting in April. First is a financial aid review. We did this last year at Nunez. This one is going to be at Sewella. So it's not a full financial aid, return title for everything. What we do is we take the top 10 findings that the Department of Education finds each year. We try to highlight those areas. So it's kind of like, for lack of a better term, low-hanging fruit. That's probably not accurate, but it's those items that everybody gets tripped up on. So it's like, if we can take care of these things, we can focus on the stuff that really is a heavy lift. And we had a lot of good feedback from the colleges. We've done this in the past, so I included on this year's audit plan. And like I said, Sewella is next up for us to review. And also, we have started disaster recovery review at Nunez. So it'll be interesting because the last, Fletcher was the first college we've ever done. It was ambitious. I mentioned it in the August meeting. I hope this isn't my Napoleon and Russia moment, but it turned out great. So now we're going to go into Nunez, hopefully get to every college in the system is my goal. But that they are, it is a lot of information. It's not your typical internal audit project. So it does require a lot of planning and preparation. And I want to acknowledge Hope Corbin. She is a member of my staff. She led the review for the Fletcher disaster recovery, and she'll do Nunez as well. And she did an excellent job. Couldn't have done it without her. Next on the agenda is the audit plan progress report. This was the feedback we got when we last had our quality assessment review. One of the things they suggested that we bring to the committee is give the committee an idea of where you are on your audit plan periodically throughout the year. We used to not include this. So I'm happy to say on the audit plan that this committee approved in August, we've started 4 of the 6 projects that were approved, and 2 will be started in the calendar year 25. So we're well on our way to completing the plan, which is my goal. Are there any questions about the projects in progress or the project, the audit plan progress?
Any questions? And well, thank you very much for the report on the projects, completed projects, as well as the project in process. So now we'll address the legislative audit. Mr. Joe Warren, if you would review the audit, if you would, please.
Yes, sir. I'll just, as a little bit of a background. So the audit process is kind of working through right now with the legislative auditor. And just to give you a primer, as audit reports are issued by the legislative auditor, we will bring them forward to the committee for review and advisement, so to speak, as they occur. So the first one that we've had come through the pipeline is for Louisiana Delta Community College. This was the AFR that was submitted this last August. The auditors did a review of their AFR for a 2-year period from July 1 of 23 through June 30th of, July 1 of 22 through July 30th of 24. And there basically was, there were audit findings related to inaccurate AFR presentation. It wasn't anything that was in terms of any inconsistencies of things missing and so forth. It was really related to paper entries that were not adequately reviewed and reported in the AFR. So they got hit for that. Since that's the prior audit report. Since then, with this audit report, they are reporting no audit findings. It's a plain audit. I'm happy to report actually that Delta, among all of our colleges, but Delta by far is probably our strongest financially healthy college in our system. And we continue to do what we've done for years now, for 5 or 6 years now, is this fiscal health index that we do at the beginning of every fiscal year to say, hey, what are your cash fund balances? that you have in your reserves as compared to your operating budget, and we kind of rank all our colleges to see where they stand. And again, I'm happy to report that Delta is in the top two, I'll say that, followed very closely by another college. So again, very financially healthy, clean audit report. So nothing to report, which is good news, but also just want to take this opportunity to express to the audit committee that financially they are a very strong college as well. This comes on the back heels of the federal HERF dollars that were provided to all our colleges that allow for some flexibility of use of funds and so forth. And they, among our other colleges, took an opportunity to help bolster their reserves. And so with that, I'm open for any kind of questions you may have regarding the audit or otherwise.
Any questions? Hearing none, okay, are there any questions or any other business, new business to bring before the committee?
In this section, I want to remind everybody, I'd be remiss as the LCTCS ethics liaison to remind everyone to do their hour of training. If you have any questions about that, Erica can help you. We have a training portal. I'm assuming everybody's already got it done, but if not, tell your friends. It's really important.
Jeff, would like to challenge you to stay in that ethics liaison about 5
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah. Gonna take that one out of the script.
Yeah. If there's no questions, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
First by Supervisor
Got
Brooks,
a motion
second
and
by
a second. Okay. Motion to adjourn. Thank you very much.
Very efficient, Mr. Chair.
That's because Joe.